All right, let's take a look at page 22. So your homework. So explain how to find each difference using counters. I don't really like to use counters for subtracting. I mean, we could start with 5 reds or 5 positives. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll just call those positives. We need to take away 8 though. So in order to take away, we need to add a positive, but when you do that, you have to add a negative. Creates a 0 pair. We have now 6 positives. We need a 7th, but we can't just add it. We need to add a negative, a 0 pair, because this value here is still just 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 2 0 pairs. We need one more though, because these don't add any value, but we need to take away 8. And we can't take away 8 from the original 5, so we had to add 3, but we can't just add positives, we have to add the negatives with them so that they don't equal anything. Now, since you have 8 positives to take away, you can just take these away. Take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and you're left with negative 3. And the same thing for number 2. So you'd start with 5 negatives, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You'd remove 3 negative counters. So we have to take away 3 negatives. So we'd take this away, take this away, take that away. And we're left with 2 negative counters. So the answer is negative 2. Use a number line to find each difference. So here you would start at negative 4. And you would take away 5. And they're telling us here that we're going to switch subtraction. So subtraction is simply adding the opposite. So if we were writing negative 4 minus 5, we could rewrite that as negative 4. Subtraction is adding, and then now we need to take the opposite, because subtraction is adding the opposite. So negative 4 plus negative 5 gives us negative 9. So here we would do the same thing. 1 minus 4, we're going to rewrite that as addition. So 1 plus negative 4, and 1 plus negative 4. Put this in here. So there are more negatives than positives, and there are 3 more negatives, but it would be 1 plus negative 4. And it would take us to 3. So on to number 5. Eight minus 11, we could rewrite that as 8 plus negative 11. There are more negatives, so we know it's going to be negative. Now we subtract the absolute value, so it would be 11 minus 8, and that is 3. And we'll just go straight down here, and then we'll move over. So this would be 15 minus 21. So it would be 15 plus negative 21. There are more negatives, and now we just subtract the absolute value. So 21 minus 15 is 6. 9, 0 plus, take the opposite of negative 5, and 0 plus 5 is 5. It's starting to get a little crowded, so we'll just rewrite them over here. So 11, let's start with 11. 15 minus 1, we could rewrite that as, instead of 15 minus 1, 15, and we're going to add the opposite, and 15 plus negative 1 is 14. On to 13. 19 minus negative 19. We're not going to subtract. we're going to add the opposite. So add, and the opposite of negative 19 is 19. 19 plus 19 is 38. Now we're going to move on to the evens. So of 6 we have negative 3 minus negative 5. We're going to rewrite that as negative 3. We're going to add the opposite, and the opposite of negative 5 is 5. There are more positives. So the answer is going to be positive. Now we subtract the absolute values, 5 minus 3, and the answer is 2. 8. Negative 17 minus 1. We're going to rewrite that as negative 17 plus negative 1. We're going to add the opposite. We have 17 negatives, we add one more negative, and we have 18 negatives. Moving on to 10. 1 minus negative 18. We're going to rewrite this. Instead of subtracting, we're going to add the opposite, and so when we change this to addition, we need to take the opposite of negative 18, which is 18, and 1 plus 18 is 19. On to 12. We have negative 3 minus negative 45. So we're not going to subtract, we're going to add the opposite. So we're going to add, and the opposite of negative 45 is 45. There are more positives than negative. The absolute value of 45 is greater. So the answer is going to be positive. And there are, and then we just subtract, I'm sorry. 45 minus 3 is 42. And last one, 14. Negative 87 minus negative 87. We're going to rewrite this as negative 87, and we're going to add the opposite. And the opposite of negative 87 is positive 87. So negative 87 plus 87, we're adding opposites here, and anytime you add opposites, the answer is 0.